Hey guys, what's going on? I thought I would make a blog or vlog about different Lovecraft games that I have, all from Fantasy Flight, because all from Fantasy Flight. But anyway, I was just going to talk about some different games. If you like what you see here, feel free to like and subscribe or check out our other videos. We have reviews and let's plays and all that. So tell me what you think. So the first game I'm going to talk about is Arkham Horror. So, as far as I know, where all this craziness of Lovecraft board games began, my friend Dustin first showed me this game. This was one of the first co-ops I had played. I think I played Shadows over Camelot before this, but then we played this, and this was a ton of fun just because the craziness that goes on in this game. But yeah, Arkham Horror, of course, is from Arkham, Massachusetts, and part of a lot of Lovecraft mythos in here. There are tons and tons of expansions for this game, but you basically play an investigator and go around trying to get clues to close gates, and you win the game by closing 6 gates. And then there's different lose conditions depending on the number of players, how many gates you can have open, and sometimes there's other lose conditions depending on the scenario you're playing. But I have like a couple expansions for this game, and I've played it quite a bit, but I haven't played this copy in I don't know how long, just because a couple of my friends both have all the expansions. So normally when I play it now, I play their copy of it just because they know the rules a little bit better because they play it solo and play it with their other friends and things like that. And they have massive amounts of it, so they can refresh up. The base game is really not that hard to get along with, and once you know sort of how to win the game, you can work together for different strategies. Some people complain about this game and say, oh, it's too random, and sometimes you don't have a chance to win at all. But it's Lovecraft, and normally it doesn't have a happy ending. So I think that makes it a lot of fun. There's definitely the feel of terror and horror and doom as you play any of these Lovecraft games for the most part. The art is great, and with all the Fantasy Flight ones, and it's a lot of fun. So the main thing about this one is you're going around trying to close gates to win the game, and there's massive amounts of expansions and characters you can be, and monsters and old ones, and if you have all the stuff for it, it's pretty ridiculous, but that's a pretty hefty investment. But yeah, so that's Arkham Horror. I don't know how much I'll be playing this going forward, but if any of my friends want to bring it over with all the expansions, that's always an experience you can't get with any other Lovecraft game. But you'll probably lose pretty quick. The next game I want to talk about is Elder Sign. It's also a cooperative game, but this is like the dice game version of Arkham Horror. This game is unique to us because my wife really likes this game a lot because it's a pretty simple game. It's like if you mixed Yahtzee with Arkham Horror, but you also have this questing and special abilities and all that on all the characters, so there's a lot more than you get just from rolling, but it has a lot of randomness. I don't have the expansion for this one, which they said ramps up the difficulty, but I don't know that I've ever lost Elder Sign. So we usually work together pretty good when we play it, and not losing games is fun, because when you're playing a cooperative game and you lose to the board game, you just lose. But it's pretty fun. It's a lot quicker than Arkham Horror. Arkham Horror normally takes, depending on the number of players, like 6 hours. This will probably get you in and out in like 30 minutes or less, who knows, especially if you have people that know how to play the game and know what they're doing. But to win this game, you have to get a number of Elder Signs equal to the ancient one you're fighting against. So normally around like 10 or 12 Elder Signs, and there's different rooms that you go to as far as like in the library. They're like different quests, and you have to roll different symbols on the dice to be able to complete those quests. But yeah, it's a lot of fun trying to get the different symbols, and working together to figure out how to use your special abilities and use your spells at the right time to be able to grab those Elder Signs without summoning more monsters into the library or anything like that. So Elder Sign, a ton of fun. The next one is more of a storytelling game, and that's Mansions of Madness. I just got this one. I've only played it one time so far, but we really had a lot of fun. I played it more like a role-playing game, so where I was basically like the games master, and I wasn't playing versus the players as much as just working together to tell a story and then also give them a challenge. I know there's scenarios in here that are more balanced for the keeper just straight out going out there and trying to smash the players. But in Mansions of Madness, one person is the keeper, and then you have a number of investigators, anywhere from 1 to 5, and you play the game, and the keeper knows basically everything that's going on in the game. They set up the board, they know the story, and they also know the win condition for themselves and for the investigators. But the investigators come into the game not really knowing much of what's going on, and they have to go from room to room exploring and finding different clues that lead them around, and once they find the last clue, then they are revealed to what the actual objective of the game is for them. And there's a lot of setup time with this game because the keeper has to put all the tiles in a specific way. There's a keeper book that shows them how everything's supposed to be set up, and the keeper gets to make different choices about the story. So you can play the same scenario, and it might be a little bit different, like instead of being buried in one place, the body is buried over here, or this specific event happened in this room instead of happening in that room. And that's cool for the replayability. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun because it's like a role-playing game, sort of that you don't have to roll up characters and all the other players get to play together. But it could be pretty brutal if the keeper just tries to trash the players, especially if they're new players. If they're experienced and they've played this game several times, you can probably get to the point where you can play competitively against the players and have a decent go at it. But I am probably going to continue to play this game where we're just trying to tell a story together, just because like the theme of the game and like the different stories that are in it seem like a ton of fun. I've only played it once so far, but I have a Let's Play of this as well, so you can watch that whole experience. I probably made a ton of mistakes, but the guys had fun. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters as far as board gaming goes, and especially as far as role-playing games go. But yeah, and then the last game I have to look at is Eldritch Horror. So this is probably the reason why I might not be playing Arkham as much, just because Eldritch Horror is awesome. So it's a cooperative game like Arkham, but the win condition is always different. You always want to complete the 3 different quests or the different things that the Elder God has, but you don't know exactly what those are. So it's not always closing gates. Sometimes it could be closing gates, but other times you have to go fight off Cthulhu's daughter or defeat the Dunwich Horror or do all sorts of different crazy things that are different missions. You have to go to this location and spend clues, or you have to go to this location and fight off this thing, or use these spells, discard certain spells to be able to complete different quests. And each Elder God in this one makes the game feel very much like you're facing that specific Elder God. So like all the clue stuff reflects more towards the Elder God you're playing against, and like all the different things start to feel more like it. Each cultist for each Elder God is different depending on which Elder God you have, so they kind of fit with the flavor of that old one. But it's a lot of fun. Just this one is more like a world scale, so your people move a little bit slower around the map, but you can get like tickets and stuff like that, and you can get items easier, and it feels like there's a lot more working together to try to get stuff done in this one as opposed to Arkham. In Arkham, like you can trade items and stuff like that, and you're working to say, hey, I'll go over here, but don't grab that because you'll be in my way if you do that. In this one, you can go around trading items and stuff like that, and you actually have to work together a lot more, I feel like, because not all the different characters can do everything. They have to work together to get it done. But yeah, this is Eldritch Horror, and I can't wait to play this more. I've probably played it like 6 times so far, and we've had a lot of fun. I haven't played it with any of my hardcore like Arkham friends, but I'm hoping that they'll give this a chance and try it out and see what they think. I'm sure they're not too keen on trying the new Arkham Horror, seeing that they have all the expansions for the other one. But this is a lot of fun, which leads to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the expansion for Arkham Horror, which is Forsaken Lore. And here it is. So Forsaken Lore is the expansion for Eldritch Horror. It's going to add like over 200 some cards to it, and a whole bunch more of the stuff for the Elder Gods. So you're going to have like more missions and stuff like that you can go on. So it'll change up like the win conditions of the game, which this is one of the things that makes Eldritch Horror like so awesome, is the fact that the win conditions aren't always the same. And it also adds Yig, the Father of Serpents. So he's pretty cool. He can he sets aside a bunch of cultists at the beginning of the game, and then each time this reckoning symbol comes up, he spawns one cultist monster on the active expedition space. So expeditions are like, you'll go to the pyramids, or you'll go to like different locations to try to do these expeditions. Then if there are 2 or more monsters in that space, advance the doom by 1. And then his cultists can also give people the poison condition. And the conditions are really cool in Eldritch Horror, because you always have the front side normally, and I'm not sure what the poison one does because it's brand new, but you have the front side, which will say something, and normally it might not necessarily do anything bad, but then when the reckoning comes up, on one of the mythos cards, then something, you'll either have to flip over the card, or you'll have to roll a die to see if something happens, and the action card, or slowly hurt you or something like that, or maybe it'll just be say, well, if the reckoning comes up again, then something really bad is going to happen. But this guy looks pretty cool and like a lot of fun. But that's Forsaken Lore. I'm really excited about this because the base game of Eldritch Horror has a lot of stuff in it, but there's only 4 old ones, which is still awesome. I don't feel like it gets skipped out on this box at all, but it'll be cool to add more, and then also to add more stuff to the existing old ones that you already have, and then add more spells, add more items, add more conditions. It basically adds more of everything. It's just a small box expansion. I don't know if there's a release date for it yet. I'm not sure which quarter that's supposed to be coming out in, but those expansions, like the small ones, are not very expensive at all. So I'm really excited about checking that out. But yeah, so if you guys are excited about any specific event below, and we can talk about it. Also, if you like this video, check out my other vlogs that I have, and I also do reviews and let's plays and just random videos about whatever. I did a painting tutorial about my Battle Lore minis, so if you want to check that out, feel free to do that as well. But yeah, like and subscribe, and comment on anything.